Let me tell you about this truck driver who has been sentenced to death for killing 11 people in Pittsburgh at a synagogue in 2018, the worst anti-Semitic attack in US history. Jurors found Robert Bowers guilty in June, and since then they've been considering whether he should face execution or whether he should face life in prison without parole. In order to receive the death penalty, jurors had to be in unanimous agreement, which it seems they were. Let's bring in Sophie Long, who's been watching she's in LA for us this evening. I think you're in LA. Are you in LA, Sophie? You are.
Yes,
I beg your pardon. Sorry.
Los Angeles, yeah.
Let's just talk about this, because I know that the families have been speaking in the last hour about the verdicts that's been handed down. What have you heard?
Yeah, a hugely difficult time for them. Obviously, this follows a lengthy trial. As you said, Robert Bowers was found guilty of all 63 charges against him in June. Then the same jury found that he would be eligible for the death penalty, and today they have announced that he should indeed be sentenced to death. Now, a formal sentencing will take place tomorrow. The judge is bound by their decision, so he will have to put Robert Bowers to death. And at the moment, what we're hearing is from families of the victims and some of the survivors of the attack, making statements to the press in Pittsburgh at the synagogue, the Tree of Life synagogue, where this shooting took place back in October of 2018. I have to say there's no consensus on this death penalty. We've heard from some people, the family of Rosa Malinger, who was the 97-year-old woman who died in the attack. Her daughter, Andrea Wedner, survived. Their family have said that a measure of justice had been served. Returning a death sentence is not a decision that comes easy, they said, but we must hold accountable those who wish to commit such terrible acts of anti-Semitism, hate and violence. So no one is taking this death sentence lightly. It is the first death sentence to take place under the Biden administration, and the formal proceedings will take place tomorrow, when again the families of the victims of the attack will have another opportunity to address the court and Robert Bowers himself.
Always a divisive issue, the death penalty. 70% of the countries around the world don't have it, and I guess it depends where you stand on that. But across the country, Sophie, there are Jewish communities who live in fear, and particularly live in fear tonight, fearful of retribution.
Yeah, and that's what the jury found. Now, Robert Bowers struck in an area of Pittsburgh right at the heart of the Jewish community, and the jury found that he had indeed struck there to instill fear in the Jewish community. But having said that, the death sentence will be formally handed down tomorrow, but the Democratic governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, has said that he's against the death penalty and has campaigned on abolishing it, and he has said that he won't sign a death warrant while he is in office. So I think the news will sink in today. This comes at the end of a very lengthy trial after an attack that happened nearly 5 years ago. But yeah, we will hear more impact statements from the victims, families, and from people who survived that attack. But that was really at the heart of the jury's decision. The defence had argued that Robert Bowers was mentally ill, that he was schizophrenic, he had a mental illness that hadn't been treated, but the prosecution argued that it was a hate crime, and it had been planned, and it had been intended to instill fear in the Jewish community, and then they unanimously found that he should indeed be sentenced to death.
Sophie Long in Los Angeles, thank you very much.